Good afternoon. It's Wednesday, 26th of May. I'm back in the Reading Nook on what is a slightly grey, overcast day. Mild, bit of a wind, but I've got a nice hot cup of tea and I've got parcels to unbox. So let's get to it. I've already been into this one, and there are several things in here. I'm going to showcase them to you one by one. Here we go. And this is One-Page Dungeons. 15 low prep adventures collected in a single volume. So quite short, runs to just a few pages, and this is let me see. It's by Fish in the Pot, and contain essentially 15. It's basically a bunch of dungeons by Jeffrey Cullop, and they look like this. It's really quite simple. You have just a simple little map on the inside, and a description there. So Kobold Caverns for levels 1 to 3. The indication at the top there. You have who it's for, and who it's suitable for. And you've got 6 locations, so Twisty Tunnel with mechanical traps, a guard point, a laboratory, and basic sophisticated kobolds they are too, living quarters, Bubba's room, okay, a bugbear who guards the treasure, treasure room, okay, and then a featured monster, the Kobold Grenadier, with stats essentially, which you can use for the old school Renaissance retro clone of your choice. So what we've got here, really, it's, I would say, a little bit linear. Okay, so what you really want to do with this, I think, is add this to a dungeon. Don't necessarily run it on its own because it's linear. And what I would actually probably do is, what you could do with this is, we're currently playing through Keep on the Borderlands. You could add it to the Kobold facilities there, and it would work. It would be a change. So levels 3 to 7, we've got current events, a river, the toll, the MacGuffin, and so on. At basically a little dungeon encounter there. Basically, you can build out of it what you want with just quick roll, and then repeat it again if the player characters encounter another river and they have to pay another toll, or even they come back to this one. Labyrinth. This really only has 3 locations, but it's got a list of random encounters there, so you can just drop that in. Leviathan Falls. Essentially, I'm not quite sure what this is, but a very quick dungeon there. It's not quite so obvious about what it is initially, and I think that's one of the things I would say. Okay, if it's not quite what it's obvious from the starting point, you obviously going to delve further. But then we have Channel Out of Time. We have essentially that does give it an exotic explanation. Trap. The player characters find themselves in a non-branching multiverse time anomaly. They arrived only what they were carrying. There is no easily discernible method of escape. Magical transportation, teleportation, and plane hopping do not function in the anomaly, and they have to find themselves their way out of that. That's there. We see Channel Out of Time, left or right. Really a case of, really basically branching tunnels, but they all kind of lead back onto the same thing again. Again, fairly linear, but you are dealing with quite a small area. Rolling random, you have a layout and essentially a table to populate it with. So, few rolls provide the stats. So whether it's monsters, treasure, so fight, rest, investigate, dragon. So literally each of the rooms that labelled you 1, 2, 3, 4 are key to a table. So in the locations marked 1, you have a fight. In the locations marked 2, you rest and roll for treasure. Location Smart 3, you investigate. In Location Smart 4, you encounter a dragon. There we go. And it's in classic style. The only thing, of course, is the fact that, yes, there's a young dragon at the end there in Location of 4, but at the same time, you're kind of going, how does the dragon get there? And almost, this is very old school in the sense that you would sort of like design a dungeon and sort of like put in or turn it into a zoo with basically a medley of monsters that sort of like, with really kind of little thought as to what how they worked or interacted together. They were just there, so you would go into a room, kill them, and they probably wouldn't have necessarily, you wouldn't have thought about, well, do they leave the room? Where do they go for food? Are they guarding something, or are they just in the room? What about their, what else do they do? What other biological functions do they attend to, and how do they do it when they're in the room? Things like that. We have a secret shrine there. Catacombs of the Necromancer. There we go. Nicely done. Nice little map. I do like these. They're really quite fun. It's basically, there's a maze, roll a random encounter, and then you've got 4 defined locations as you go through. Dwarf King's Throne. Essentially, the player characters are summoned by the Dwarf Queen for various reasons, and this is sort of like more. I think it's more. This is more of a social encounter, which is a little bit different to the other ones. And we have heavy metal mutants, and there is almost you've got a anthropomorphic feel to the design of the dungeon layout there. And again, this one even goes so far as to include, suggested soundtrack to play whilst you're running that Hobgoblin Fortress. Okay, Descent into Madness. Again, no real context on this one, just off the bat. I think that's one of my criticisms, is sort of like, how do I use this? And it's really kind of left up to the referee to do that, and that's fine. But at the same time, if you want something you can pull off the shelf, it would help. Sharpjaw Cavern, which is basically a set of caverns. This is one they're occupied by gnolls, including a gnoll shaman, and again, basically these can be used as sort of like a bolt-on encounter. I mean, for example, so I go back to Keep on the Borderlands, there's scope for you to add this to the gnoll caves. And we have the transdimensional Serpent Lord. The player characters are swept into an infinite vortex, dark purple ripples dripping over splatter, shift reality, the air hums with power. They're floating in a space between the dimensions, and essentially this is where they kind of end up. So this is sort of like this goes into the realms of science fantasy rather than the straight fantasy, even potentially science fiction, where you've got that strange gun-like object on the map there. And that's it. You've got a couple of pages where you can do your notes. They get blank, so you could draw your own. So yeah, these things. I don't know whether necessarily what the significance of the cover is. I mean, it's nice, but it doesn't seem particularly relevant. But this is the sort of thing, that a GM kind of will find useful sat on their shelf. Basically, I need an adventure very quickly, an encounter which I can run tonight. This needs a minimum preparation, provide some stats if necessary, and go. And it's the sort of thing that nicely works with almost every fantasy role-playing game going, but especially one based on Dungeons and Dragons and the old school Renaissance. So yeah, that's One-Page Dungeons, which is basically, let's have a look, from Fish in the Pot, but you can buy it from Squarehex, which is where I got it from, and add that to basically your library of ready-to-play dungeons. So Thank you for watching another unboxing in the Nook, and listen to it. Basically, listen to me talking about a new book, drinking a cup of tea. I hope you enjoyed this unboxing. If you have, please do click the like button down below. If you've got any comments or feedback, please do take the time to post them. I do read them, I do respond, and if you want to watch more unboxings here in the Nook, and see me basically witter on about various games and drink tea and even get visited by a cat, then please do subscribe. Again, thanks for watching. I'll be back soon with another unboxing in the Nook. Bye for now.